So the last talk I had was on what is the meaning of mind-made matters and anything related to mind-made matters. I think there was a little bit of clarity there, I think, because a lot of people actually gave me some feedback that it was easy to understand. So what I'm going to continue today is to really elaborate on what kind of mind we usually have. Do we use our conceptual mind, which is conditioned mind most of the time, which is very natural because we are still not tamed, not trained, or are we able to at times really be able to go into their state of non-conceptual mind? Yeah. So these are the teachings of the Buddha. It's all about purification of the mind. Everybody knows that. Yeah. Not to do evil, to do all good. Every religion will teach us that. Purification of the mind. As far as I know, Buddhas have taught us that purifying the mind, purifying the virtues, purifying the 5 precepts, purifying the 8 precepts. Now, if you want to talk about those things, it will take another few sessions to go through. Yeah. So what is the meaning of really purifying? Yeah. So again, I have some references made to the Anguttara Book of Wands. It's found in Anguttara Book of Wands, number 4, Sutta number 4. Now, the Buddha has named 10 things about what one thing can do to us, and that is reference to our mind. Okay? So I'm reading out these 10, and later on we'll just go into the little, what we call more details about what kind of mind we have when we live our life. Okay? Whether as a child or whether as an adult. Yep. So, okay, here we go. AN 1.4. Because I do not see even one other thing that when untamed leads to such great harm as the mind. An untamed mind leads to great harm. Number 2, because I do not see even one thing that when tamed leads to such great good as the mind. A tamed mind leads to great good. Okay, number 3, because I do not see even one other thing that when unguarded leads to such great harm as the mind. An unguarded mind leads to great harm. Number 4, because I do not see even one other thing that when guarded leads to such great good as the mind. A guarded mind leads to great good. 5, because I do not see even one other thing that when unprotected leads to such great harm as the mind. An unprotected mind leads to great harm. 6, sorry, because I do not see even one other thing that when protected leads to such great good as the mind. A protected mind leads to great good. 7, because I do not see even one other thing that when unrestrained leads to such great harm as the mind. An unrestrained mind leads to great harm. And number 8, because I do not see even one other thing that when restrained leads to such great good as the mind. A restrained mind leads to great good. And number 9, because I do not see one other thing that when untamed, unguarded, unprotected, unrestrained, leads to such great harm to the mind. The mind, when untamed, unguarded, unprotected, and unrestrained, leads to great harm. Number 10, because I do not see even one other thing that, when tamed, guarded, protected, and restrained, leads to such great good as the mind. The mind, when tamed, guarded, protected, and restrained, leads to great good. Okay, so this is from the Anguttara Nikaya Books of One. If you are able to really if you have time, I really encourage you to read that chapter based on the mind, because there are some other things which is really so easy to understand, so down to earth, that affects most of us when our mind is untrained. So these, of course, are the mind states that belongs to most of us when we are what we call putthajanas, worldlings, very mundane beings, with all our defilements of greed, hatred, delusion, doubts and ego and wrong views all happening. So because of that state of mind, because of our fetters, because of our defilements, of course, it is not easy to guard our mind. But now that we are all Buddhists, now that we are all here to listen to the teachings of Lord Buddha from various teachers, right? Different approaches, different kind of skillful means to help us how to really look at the mind, how to be mindful of the mind, the thoughts that arises. Because what are we? Most of the time, we actually react to the thoughts and the feelings that come about, and based on whatever perception we have already conditioned our mind to be. And that's how we respond, that's how we see things, right? So all these things are all mind-made. Okay, so the Buddha's teaching is all about the mind, right? He has taught us that there are external things, right? Our sense bases in contact with external things give rise to all this consciousness of whether you like it or you don't like it. You got perception and what they call mental evolution and consciousness all arising. But what he's trying to tell us is that the external things is very hard for us to change. What he is trying to teach us, what the Buddha is trying to teach us is the only thing that we can really change is really the mind. Yeah. So of course there's the question coming into being. There's no I, so how can I change the mind? So again, this is something that is very profound. I don't think that I am even have the authority or the knowledge to really go deep into this so-called topic about sunyata. Yeah. Even anatta is good enough for us to really go take a step towards understanding that anything outside is very hard for us to change. That's why a lot of times even psychologists or philosophers or counselors or whatever, whenever somebody has sort of like encountered some kinds of difficulty, they will always explore with us how we can change our mindset so that we are not trapped in our very negative emotions. Yeah. So as the Buddha has mentioned here very clearly, an untamed mind, an unguarded mind, unprotected mind, and unrestrained mind leads to great harm, whereas the opposite will lead to great good. So this, as mentioned before, is something to do with the untamed and unprotected. All these are very mundane qualities of the mind, and of course, in order to have great good, we have to transcend all these mundane qualities to, as best as possible, to supramundane, right? But we take things slowly at a time, because most of us say that, we are still putthajanas. We are not able to understand a very profound teaching. So let's start from the very basics. Okay, so what I like to do today is that what kind of untamed, unprotected, unguarded, and unrestrained minds do we have? Right? Because they arise so naturally to us. So I actually did some research on the kinds of emotions. In fact, I was actually going to borrow from Dr. Barbara Sullivan when she was teaching us the basic counseling and interpersonal relations and skillful means and all those things, the skills of listening, the skills of empathizing and all that. But I was thinking that perhaps maybe I should explore further from other scholars, other psychologists, other counselors who actually have come up with different lists of emotions that most of us go through. So some are positive, some are negative, which is very natural. It's all a very natural reaction of the mind, something that is a natural phenomena of a mind, because as long as we have a mind, all these thoughts, all these emotions will happen. And it's very hard for us to really force it not to happen, because it's all about causes and conditions, and also about how we have conditioned our minds. So what I'm going to do right now is to go through a list, and then we can actually see for ourselves how many of these kind of emotions do we go through, because they're all mind-made. It's all about the mind. If the mind doesn't allow it to happen, it won't happen. But especially the negative energy, if the mind is weak and untrained or unprotected and unguarded, then all this negativity will arise. Of course, positive energies are something that we welcome, but if we cling on to those positive energies too, it becomes another hindrance to us too. So I'm here reading this emotions, list of emotions, negative and positive, is by what do you call that? Emotion, annotation, and representation language proposed by the Human-Machine Interaction Network on Emotion. Okay, so together they have classified 48 types of emotions. So I'm just going to read out the negative, and then later on followed by the positive. Okay, so all these things, all these emotions, all right, based on our contact with external forms or on contact with phenomena happening around us, or sometimes even internally when we have thoughts arising in what they call inner chatters, or what they call contradictory kind of thoughts arising inside our mind. All these emotions will arise, and it is very impermanent. It arises, it fades away. It arises, it fades away, right? So whether good or bad, this is the pattern it goes, and this is how we live our life. Happy, sad, happy, sad, happy, sad, happy, sad. Yeah, okay. So why does this happen? Because of that notion of having a self, having an ego. This is why all these things happens. Otherwise, if we are like the Arahants or Lord Buddhas and all that, they see things as they are. They are always living in the present moment. They are not going to allow the past affect them, all right? Nor are they going to speculate into the future. Although they can see into the future, like in the Nikayas, we can see that the Buddha has mentioned that in the future, all these perils happen because of this reason. Yeah, the decline of the Dhamma will happen because of all these reasons. The decline of the Sangha will happen because of all these reasons. It's already there in the sutta. So that is actually the wisdom and what called the penetrative insights of Lord Buddha, who is able to more or less see because of causes and effect, this will happen. Yeah. So of course, if you really were to read into the suttas, I don't think you can find anything about what Lord Buddha says about internet, mobile phone, cyberspace, all these kind of things. I don't think there's anything mentioned in that. But then, of course, we have to take his teaching and apply it into what all these things are doing to us. And that's so important, because the Buddha is talking about how to tame the mind, and especially how to protect the mind, how to guard the mind, and how to restrain the mind. Yeah. So all these things are important. So right now I'm going to read the list here, and then we can at the same time, just as what I did when I was actually doing all these things, I was asking myself, have I gone through all these things before? Yeah. So this is time to really go into a deep reflection, be honest enough, courageous enough to ask ourselves, have I gone through all these emotions before? Yeah, because they're all in the mind. Okay? So here goes. The negative and forceful emotions, they are anger, annoyance, contempt, disgust, irritation. And negative emotions that are not in control, a lot of times, all this happen. Anxiety, embarrassment, fear, helplessness, powerlessness, worry. Negative thoughts that arise, doubts, envy or jealousy, frustration, guilt, shame. Negative and passive, boredom, despair, disappointment, hurt, sadness. And those that come under agitation is stress, shock, tension. Of course, there are much more other than just all this listed here, because there are different scholars who have come up with different sets also. I may go through that if we have time. Okay. Now, then the positive emotions that we go through. Remember, all these things are mind. We can't see them. We cannot see them, but we can see all these reactions of emotions through our speech, through our physical, through our body. Yeah? But how we feel, nobody can feel for us unless they experience it themselves. So for the positive and the lively, they have here amusement, delight, elation, excitement, happiness, joy, pleasure. And those that's under the caring caption is affection, empathy, friendliness, and love. Positive thoughts arising will be pride. Now, this pride is not egoism. It is rather a satisfaction and joy of what you are able to do, right? Out of goodness, yeah? Having done something that you're really feeling very good about yourself, yeah. And then the other one is courage, hope, humility, satisfaction, trust. And then those that are positive, but quietly positive, but something that we can sense, something that we can see in others too, as well as in ourselves. Yeah. So that is calmness, contentment, relaxation, and relief. So all these emotions actually come under what the Buddha mentions: greed, hatred, delusion, ego, doubts, wrong views. It's just an expansion of these 6 main topics. Yep. So the positive actually come from opposites of those 6 defilements. Yeah. So all these things are there. Now, what I really want to emphasize on is the topic on anger. Many times people, when they are angry, there are different kind of underlying reasons why they are angry. Okay. Now, this is through my own experience, as well as experiences of those who come to talk to us, as well as experiences of those who are displaying anger. Now, a lot of times we as Buddhists say, hey, the Buddha says you cannot be angry. You have to kill your anger. That's the only thing you can kill the anger, right? But because we are not there yet, because we are not fully awakened yet, all these emotions, due to causes and conditions, due to our past experiences and all that, it will arise. Now, anger is one thing that is very common. It can be exhibited in various ways, anger. But a lot of times, do we really understand why some people appear to be very angry, but actually they do not have ill will harbored in their hearts, but rather that anger is actually an external form of crying for help. Hey, I'm so powerless. I'm so helpless. I've not been understood. I can't do anything. When I talk to you, are you able to understand me? But a lot of times when we as Buddhists say, hey, you are a Buddhist, you should not be angry. This is not what the Buddha has taught. Immediately, the person will withdraw. Why do people attempt suicide? Why they go into depression? A lot of times it's because sometimes it's clinical, sometimes it's other self-inflicted kind of harm and all that. But from my experience, there are many instances where we can see that a person who comes to us with this kind of distress and what I call helplessness and deep frustration, deep disappointment, deep hurt, when they talk to us, they really raise their voice. They are just trying to emphasize that, hey, I really need to be heard. I just need to be understood. But many of us will just say, hey, you shouldn't be angry. This is not what a Buddhist should be doing. Don't you think that if that person is enlightened, he or she wouldn't be angry? If he's enlightened, if he or she is enlightened, he or she wouldn't have to come and talk to me. I need help. Right? Now, this is sometimes when actually I remember that as a layperson, I was actually being trained to befriend those people in need. And of course, we have people with different kind of issues, for family issues, relationship issues, what I call mental issues, and all those things. And sometimes they can be very, I would say, very demanding, very rude, very manipulating. To us, we feel that they are very negative emotions arising in that person. But most of the time, if you really go deeper, you can understand that they are not coping with life. They are all shouting out for help. So I just want to emphasize this thing. When somebody comes to tell us that, Ayya Upekkha, I can't bear this person. I just can't understand why she's doing all these things to me. I've done nothing to her. Why is she continuing to do this to me repeatedly? I can't bear it. I'm so angry, right? if I were to tell, hey, you are a Buddhist, you shouldn't be angry, I tell you, the moment I say that, they will just withdraw and she will not come and speak to me anymore. Because I'm not understanding her, right? So psychology, the Buddha is the best counselor, the Buddha is the best psychology, the Buddha is the best psychiatrist without medicine and all that. He's one of the best because he listens, he pays attention, he understands what is going on in the mind. He doesn't just dismiss somebody as, you are crazy, you're just being angry, go get your anger abandoned, go do something. No, he listens. He understands that this is human nature. When we don't see the truth, this is what we will have in our emotions. It's the natural kind of mind that sets forth all these kind of emotions that we are feeling. So that's why today I really hope to take this opportunity to remind each and every one of us, including me, myself, including the nuns, if somebody comes in and says, Ayya Upekkha, okay, I better tell myself, okay, this is a person who is not able to cope with life. Something is happening. So have a cup of coffee. Please sit down. Would you like to share with me what is happening to you? It calms them down. And what am I doing is also my mate. It's mind to mind. When we are interacting, most of the time, it's our mind interacting with another person's mind. Everything is mind-made. Right? So a lot of times we are so confused. After learning Buddhism, we do not know where to draw the line. So there's a joke, actually, I'm quite sure many of you have heard it. I'm not sure whether I remember it correctly or not. You know, they say that the Theravada practitioners like to say, may you be well and happy. So when somebody has fallen on the street or something, they walk by and say, may you be well and happy. Bye-bye, I'm on my way. Yeah. And then there's another kind of practitioner. Oh, how are you? Can I help you? Then there's another kind of person who really come and lend a helping hand and maybe ask for help. Yeah. So these are different kinds of reactions that we have been conditioned to do. Yeah. So what kind of mindset do we have? We really have to look at our mindset. So recently I was just telling Ayya Sankappa. So she was the one who says we are playing mind-catching game. I was telling her that, look, because of all this, I would say, investigation in the Lord Buddha's teaching about mind-made phenomena. Everything is mind-made, right? I've come across a lot of teachings. And this is actually a reminder for me, to really catch what thoughts arises in me, whether they are harmful or whether they are good, yeah, and whether this is actually talking about right effort in the Noble Eightfold Path, right? The two, which is very negative, you have to nip it in the bud and don't let it develop. The other two that is really good, if he has not arisen yet, you let it arise and then you develop on it. So these are the things that most of us find that we don't have the time to do. A lot of times, if we are busy, I know what it's like to be busy. I can guarantee you all the nuns in Newbury Buddhist Monastery know what is the meaning of busyness, okay? We have never been so busy in our life as a layperson, okay? But the thing is that we're doing it knowing that it is doing it for a noble cause, not only for others, but also for ourselves too. So whenever our mind has this, has arisen something, a thought, right? So especially sometimes when you're so busy, when everyone from all directions, Ayya Upekkha, da 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 da, Ayya Upekkha, da 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 da, Ayya Upekkha, there's a problem, Ayya Upekkha, that person is doing this, Ayya Upekkha, that thing has fallen down. So what do? Oh my goodness. Yeah, so one at a time. But sometimes it can get so frustrating. So I'll tell them, hey, I'm feeling very frustrated. I'm actually able to sense that I'm having anger arising. Why do I need to face all these things? I know that my anger is arising. So I can tell them, please leave me alone. My anger is arising. You better let me cool down. I know I have anger arising. It's so much frustration because of so much work. Yep. And work is not that frustrating. You can just do the work when you're tired, rest. It's people's problems that is most difficult to handle, right? I'm quite sure everybody agrees. Yesterday, I was talking to one of the residents there, and the resident was telling us, life is so difficult. It's better to have animals and all those things. I say, yeah, it's true. Animals are easy to handle. People are difficult. Yes, I agree with you 100%. Yeah. Now, why are we so difficult to handle? Why are we so difficult to handle? Why is it that other people find us so difficult to handle? I'm quite sure a lot of you have found Ayya Upekkha very difficult to handle. No, cannot be done. This is not a policy here. I cannot have double standards. Am I being unkind? Am I being kind? Am I being fair? Am I being biased? All these things are things you have to face a lot of times. I'm quite sure all of you have to. Especially if you are in the leading role of some organization or some groups or whatever, when you are the decision maker, you have to go through all these things. So when all these negative, thoughts or emotions arise, what do I do? So as the Buddha says, I think there's a sutta which I shared with the group that night. There are 5 things that we have to do to really deal with it. What was the sutta called again? Can you remember? Yeah. So one of the things is using one of the 5 things that the Buddha mentioned, which I really recall, is how to use the mind to crush the mind. Use the mind to crush the mind. Okay? So what does the Buddha mean by that? So because our mind is having so many thoughts coming up, so sometimes when we are in a very negative mode, a lot of things that happens is very negative. Sometimes it can even become harmful to yourself or to others. So this is where we really have to play the mind-catching game. Okay, something is happening to my mind. These thoughts are arising. I'm angry. I'm having angry thoughts. Where are my angry thoughts directed to? To whom? Why? Is there anything that I can do to really get myself out of this anger? So all these things, we have to be very truthful, and we have to be very courageous to admit that we are angry. I have personally experienced people who tell me, I'm not angry with the person, but it's so irritating. I just can't take it. But I'm not angry. Oh, I don't think you're not angry when you're talking to me like that. Be honest enough. Please be honest. No one is going to say that you are not a good Buddhist, or maybe some people will say that you're not a good Buddhist, you are angry. I admit I'm angry because I have not been able to contain my anger. This is the reason why I'm speaking in this way. Please give me some time to cool down. If you're able to listen to me, it will help. If you don't judge me when I'm talking to you, it will help. If you are able to empathize with me when I'm telling you about my difficulty, even though inside your heart you are saying that you are wrong, when you listen to me with empathy, it will still help. And then later on we can explore with each other why this whole thing is happening. So you see the power of our minds. It can either break or it can either make a person. It can either break or it can either make ourselves into a better character. Yeah. So this is the reason why it's so important. The Buddha's teaching is don't let the past influence us. Don't speculate into the future. A lot of times when we want to do something, there will be some people who come here with lots of questions and suggestions. If this happens, then what do I do? If that happens, what can we do? So I always tell the nuns, I think I prefer to follow the Buddha's example. The Buddha, why did he come up with so many Vinaya rules? He didn't actually establish the Vinaya rules before anybody has made an offense. He didn't. It's only when somebody has transgressed an offense, then he said, okay, from today onwards, this thing cannot be done. Or whenever some monks or nuns have done something which the lay people are not happy about and they complain to the Buddha will ask them, did you do this? Yes. Then from today onwards, it shall not be done. Right? Now, when is a situation not considered an offense? In our Vinaya rules, it's very clearly stated, right? Of course, during the Buddha's time, the first offender can be excused. But after that, for us, if we transgress an offense, it cannot be excused. An offense is an offense, right? So when is an offense not considered an offense? Anyone wants to try? Sorry? Unintentional. Yeah. But even unintentional, even according to the law, you can still be arrested. Right. So the Buddha is actually very down to earth. He said that when you are mad, you are insane. When we are mad and insane, that mental state there. Am I getting it right, Ayya? I got to double check because sometimes too much things here, I may be saying the wrong thing. Yeah. So MN20. The one that I was talking about, crushing the mind with the mind. Yeah. So that was the thing that really was deeply seated in my consciousness, because I was thinking, okay, the rest of the things you can actually redirect it to certain thoughts. You can actually do this, do that, how to get out of it, not to pay attention to those unwholesome thoughts. But a lot of times, the more you try not to pay attention to those unwholesome thoughts, the more it will arise. That's why Ajahn Brahm always tells us, do not use willpower. Willpower won't work. You have to use right understanding, right view. Yeah? Okay? So what is the meaning of crushing our mind with mind? As we were taught that the mind has the conceptual level and the non-conceptual level, which I believe is what most teachers say is our Buddha nature. Right? It's not conditioned at all. When we are awakened, enlightenment or nibbana, not nirvana, okay? Nirvana, it is an unconditioned state of mind. Right? We have those two states of mind within each of us. It's just that we, most of the time, for those of us who are not into the holy stream, or especially when we are not awakened, okay, then most of the time we use our conceptual mind. Conceptual mind means the mind that has been conditioned by our experiences, by whatever information we've been receiving, by any teachings from our teachers, because unless the teachers, they themselves are enlightened like the Buddha or the Arahants, we will still be getting wrong information, wrong teachings from them. And our mind just tries to absorb like a sponge. We absorb. Sometimes if we don't have that wisdom to discern whether this is right or this is wrong, then we get ourselves into trouble, right? So when we have the mind giving rise to very unwholesome thoughts, how do we crush it? So the teaching, from how I understand it, is we can use the energy of the mind by thinking of positive things. Something positive to overcome the negativity. So a lot of times when we have actually a lot of unwholesome thoughts arising, what is the easiest thing for us to do, especially if we are doing meditation? What can we do? We can recollect the qualities of the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. Right? When we have lustful thoughts and all that, what can we do with our mind? We think about the 32 parts of the body, which is very unclean. Again, I want to repeat this story because when I was in Thailand with one of the teachers there, that was my first experience as a forest practitioner. The teacher was actually asking us, our stomach is like a cemetery. Why? Because we eat meat, we eat fish, we eat whatever, it all goes into there. It's just like burying all those stuff into our cemetery. And what comes out from the body is even more disgusting. So why do we have so much attachment to our bodies? Or why do we have so much attachment to other people's body? Right? So the teacher always asks us that. And then when we are actually giving the seminary or seminara ordination to candidates who want to commit to becoming a bhikkhu or bhikkhuni, the first 5 parts of the body that we always ask them to contemplate on is hair on the body, hair on the head, hair on the body, our teeth, our nails, and skin. Now, why hair? Hair is our crowning glory, especially for women, isn't it? How many of you want to shave your hair? Like us, we shave our hair, right? But how many of you are happy to shave your hair? Maybe when there's a what you call a trend in the community that this is the latest trend, you shave your hair, this is what they call beauty. Maybe most people will follow. But other than that, how many people really want to follow, right? So sometimes you find someone who's really very attached to you may say, you've got lovely, beautiful hair, da 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 da, so beautiful. Then I was actually sharing with them this case where somebody has mentioned, we experience it ourselves too. I'm quite sure you have experienced it yourself too. When you're eating your soup or when you're eating your food and then you find a strand of hair in there, you just put it out and say, hey, whose hair is that? Ugh, disgusting. For instance, that it's the hair from someone you love, right? If there's someone say, hey, darling, I thought you said my hair is so beautiful, you love it so much, why don't you just swallow it to prove that you love me? Would you do it? I don't think anyone would. It's so hard to swallow the hair. You see, our tongue is so sensitive. Even that very small hair is so fine. You can feel it. That's the sensitivity of our sense basis, right? Unless you are like me, a little bit losing my hearing, a little bit losing my sight, which I count as a blessing. I don't have to see too much, I don't have to hear too much, but I hope I don't have to talk too much too. Yeah. So we see what we see as beauty, right? There's another one called Upalasa Sutta, where something that is not beautiful you see as beauty, like the hair on the head. Is it really that beautiful? And then our nails, okay? You just go and do gardening and don't wash your nails. Then I will tell you, go and eat your roti prata or something like that. Don't wash your hands. Are you able to? I know some tradesmen do. They'll just take the food and they just eat like that. And, hey, you didn't wash your hands. It's okay. I'm so used to it. I'm too busy. I just want to quickly finish my lunch and I'm going to work. Tradesmen, I know they do. But most of us, are we able to do it? No. Even in the kitchen, we experience these things. Ayya Upekkha, the person is handling the food. They did not wear gloves when they're talking, saliva dripping. See, so what can we do? So these things which people say are attractive, beautiful, are not really so. They are actually impurities of the body. Okay, so nails we understand, of course teeth we understand. Don't brush your teeth for 2 days and then come and speak to your loved one. How will the reaction be? Oh, it's like perfume. No, here, this is Colgate or what? What's the other one? Ducky or whatever. Go and brush your teeth. Yeah. Yeah, see, things that we see as beautiful, the wise don't see as beautiful. They don't have attachments to it. I don't know that maybe one day if I lose my teeth, will I still be able to come here without my teeth and then talk to you and smile? No teeth. How will you all react? Will you still want to listen to my talk if I just give you a big grin and then no teeth there? How would you feel? Because sometimes I try to look into the mirror and I put seaweed. How do I look if I have no teeth? You just paste some seaweed there, then you look like you don't have teeth in the front. How do I look? So these are the things that make us look beautiful. And then of course the next thing is the skin, isn't it? The skin is the layer that holds our nails, our teeth, not the skin, not the teeth, but it holds our whole what you call structure of the body in place, right? It's the skin, right? Under the skin we're all the same. It's all bloody, muscles, bones, sinews, anything. We're all the same. Are we really that attractive under the skin? No, we are not. Yeah. So these are all mind-made. All mind-made. You see, a person that we feel is a very good person, a person that has done nothing to hurt us, we feel that this person, in our mind, this person is a good person. When somebody has continuously, repeatedly do something to irritate us or not want to comply with rules and regulations, we will just label them as a very stubborn and difficult person. All these are all in our mind. Yeah, so none of us is totally this nor that. because we are a mixture of everything together. But of course, as the Buddha has mentioned, some have more bright energy, some have more dark energy, right? So all these things are how we actually guard our mind, tame our mind, protect our mind, restrain our mind. So everything is mind-made, everything. Everything is mind-made. That's the reason why we have to catch the thoughts that arise in our mind. Catch it the moment it arises, right? And then discern for ourselves. Is this really going to help me or help others? Is this going to be what I call a very positive gesture on my part? Or am I going to harm myself or harm others? Am I going to cause disruption to the whole community and all those things? Right? Again, it comes to another very, very common Buddhist kind of teaching in real lay life, or rather in the monastic life too. It's the same there. Be compassionate to the person. Be kind to the person. Whenever a person is not fitting in and all that, be kind, be kind, be kind. So there are certain times when we have to ask our teacher, be kind to whom? Be kind to the person who is very disruptive and causing a lot of trouble, or be kind to the whole group of persons who is receiving all the disturbing kind of reactions from this person. And for me, can I have some compassion on my part too, for me? So how do we apply compassion? It's all in the mind too. Whether we are compassionate or not compassionate, it's all mind-made. It's all steered by the mind. So in kinds of situation like that, you can find within the community, just one person is enough to disrupt the happiness and harmony of the whole community. What can we do? Yeah, if you don't have to live with the person, of course you don't understand, then you say, oh, please be kind to the person, please be kind to the person. But for those who are living with the person, Ayya Upekkha, can you please do something about it? So who do I be kind to? Because if you are living with arahants, there won't be such comments, there won't be such complaints. But we are not there yet. So whether we are arahants or whether we are putthajanas, we still have that mind. We still have the thoughts arising. We still have the emotions arising. It's just how we deal with them, right? Now, that's another thing that we can't understand. When we look at the, what are called bhujangas, it's bhujangas, right? Where the Buddha or his disciples are sick. And then when the Buddha or the Arahant disciples visit one another, they'll be asking, Mahakassapa or so-and-so, how are you feeling? Is your pain increasing or decreasing? All these kind of questions. And then the sick Arahant or whoever will say that, oh, not Buddha, I'm not feeling better, my pain is increasing, not decreasing. They feel pain. Arahants do feel pain. We feel pain too. But when we feel pain, what do? Whereas the Arahants, when they feel pain, and then when the bhujangas are recited to them, they sort of like snap out of their sickness and become well again. Including the Buddha, when he was sick, he had to have, was it Sariputta? One of his disciples, huh? Chunda, yeah, Mahachunda, to recite the bhujangas to Lord Buddha when he was sick. Right? How do they do that? When we have pain, we don't have to have any very severe pain, just a toothache is enough to kill us. And I think many of you would have recalled what Ajahn Brahm has, told about his toothache pain when he was in Thailand. Yeah, Thailand. Yeah, how he overcome it. Let go of the pain, don't own the pain. It's all mind-made. Are we able to do it? We are trying very hard. So sometimes when we are doing meditation, you are sitting for a long time, and maybe sometimes you may have had a past injury before, right? You may have a pain starting to arise, maybe especially knee area, thigh area, bum area, backbone area. Instead of just changing a position immediately, right? Are we able to use the mind to disown that pain that's happening in the body. Because according to the Buddha's teaching, that is mind-made too. The pain that is being felt from the body is actually mind-made. So are we able to disown the pain from the body and just look at the pain without changing position? It's worth trying. If you all are meditators, it's worth trying. Just look at the pain. Look at where the pain is. Don't consider it as my pain. Oh, my knee is hurting me. Oh, it's getting worse and worse. Yeah. Just look at it. Right. As though it is not yours. Try it. We have tried it. But I know I can't handle it when it's very excruciating pain. I am still not able to do it. I try to do it when it's just a little pain. It does help, right? So just like the other day, I was trying to exercise this kind of detaching from the pain. So, you know, I don't know how the doctors will treat your mouth ulcers. Normally, I don't go to doctors. I just put some salt into the ulcer, and it's so painful, right? When you put salt into a wound, you can really jump sky high. But I just put some salt onto the mouth ulcer, and it was very painful. So I thought, I'll practice the Buddha's teaching. Just look at the pain. Yes, it's painful. Just look at the pain. Yep, it's painful. I didn't actually decide to stop the pain at all. I didn't even want to attempt washing away the salt. I just kept looking at the pain. Maybe after that, the pain dissolved because the salt dissolved away or whatever, I don't know. But it does help. It did not become so painful anymore. Yeah. So you can try when you're meditating. See whether you can disown the pain that is felt in the body. Yeah? So the Buddha has always taught us, let the body be sick because it's a natural process. Anything that is made up of the four elements, okay, of solidity, fluidity, heat, or wind, these four elements, they are all subject to arising and falling away. There's no one who can say that, no, it's not going to happen to my body or to anything that I have. Nothing. It is only the mind that is there, that you can really try to protect and guard. Because that mind there, it will not fall away. It will only go back to nature, as Ajahn Brahm has often said, going back to nature, which is still and peaceful and bright. Yeah? Still, peaceful, and bright. And then again here, I want to emphasize on another thing. Many of us Buddhists like to discriminate or try to, I do not know what's the English word to say, but we always try to tell ourselves that our so-called vehicle, our practice, our Theravada practice is the best. Mahayana and Vajrayana, whatever, all of you are not practicing Lord Buddha's teaching. You know, when I went to Thailand, that teacher was a Theravada teacher, but she never discriminated against those who are doing the Amitabha chant, because she understood the meaning of Amitabha. What is the meaning of Amitabha? It is not you chant Amitabha, 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 and then there's a Buddha standing right in front of you, appear in front of you to save you to Western paradise. No, that's not the meaning of chanting Amitabha. The meaning of Amitabha is infinite life, infinite light. That's the meaning of Amitabha. So when they are chanting Amitabha, they're actually chanting, hoping that they can really let go of all external things and reaching that pure, bright state of mind which is within each of us. Theravada doesn't call it Amitabha, pure Buddha mind or whatever. I mean, I have heard Ajahn Brahm mention it in one of his talks that we have the Buddha mind, but very rare do Theravada teachers say we have the original pure mind. It's always the Mahayana or the Vajrayana. But Ajahn Brahm always said that we go back to nature. What is nature? Nature is that untainted mind there. So please do not go around telling people, oh, you're not a real Buddhist. Chanting the Amitabha is wrong. You must go into meditation. How can you expect an elderly who has never practiced meditation to go into meditation? The other day, somebody brought the mother to see me. Can you teach my mother meditation? One look at the face, I know the mother is very troubled. I said, no, I can't teach your mother meditation, but I can teach her to do something else. She's a Chinese. Does your mother believe in Avalokitesvara. Yes, she does. She has the image at home. Then I say, teach her how to chant. Don't teach her how to meditate. She's suffering from anxiety. How can you teach anyone with anxiety or depression to go into meditation? It won't work. It won't work. Meditation doesn't work for everyone. Not everyone can meditate. It depends on the maturity of the mind, the stability of the mind. Right. So don't treat meditation as a cure-all for all sicknesses. No. That's the reason why the Mahayana, they come up with this practice of Buddha chanting. And it doesn't mean that when you do Buddha chanting, that's the end of it. They also emphasize on taking refuge in the Holy Triple Gem. They also emphasize on keeping your 5 precepts well, keeping your 8 precepts well. They also emphasize on the 4 Brahma Viharas. They have the 4 Brahma Viharas too, right? They also talk about anatta. They also talk about the 12 links of dependent origination. All the teachings are there. But the only way to help them settle their mind is, okay, just like what our Theravada teachers will tell us, when you are doing meditation, if you cannot focus, then you use the word Buddha, Buddha, Buddha. It's almost the same. When they chant Amitabha, 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 it's just Buddha. What's the meaning of Buddha? Awaken. We are all trying to meditate to become awakened, not to attain something. That's why Ajahn Brahm's use of words is so relevant, because it really aligns with what our Chinese teacher teaches us. It's not to attain something, it's really to let go of everything. Right? So when you chant the word Buddha, Buddha, Buddha to help you focus on your breath, so that your mind doesn't keep on fantasizing and thinking of the past, speculating the future, because that's the nature of the mind. And untamed mind will just continue to do that. So how do we redirect that energy to something more wholesome, to something can help us calm down, to something that helps us to unify the mind? So Buddha. So those who are Chinese, they do not know what's the meaning of Buddha. Then you say Amitabha, Amitabha, Amitabha. It's okay. It's all about awakening, returning to the original state of pure, bright mind, right? Nature is always there. Nature will not die. I have not heard any teacher who told me that nature can die. Nature is there in the whole universe. We are all a byproduct of nature's interacting with energy, right? That's how I understand it. Right? I haven't really understood into the deep core of the teaching of Sunyata or whatever, about the Buddha mind. But so far, the teachings that I've heard from Ajahn Brahm and our Chinese teachers is that nature is there, we're part of nature. And when our mind actually reacts with something, that's when our mind will start to create karma. And then we start to believe that we are what we're thinking. And we start to believe that our reactions, our perceptions are all true. It's not true. The Buddha has taught us it's not true. They are not reliable. Our mind is not reliable. And again, I refer to you, I think I remember I've shown Dr. Elizabeth Loftus one video, right? How one guy was convicted and put into jail wrongly because of wrong identification from a so-called victim. But she managed to help him out because she knows that our minds are so powerful. Either it makes us believe in the wrong things, or they can actually steer us into doing a lot of good things. Our mind is so powerful. Our mind is like electricity. You cannot see it, but through the words, through the mouth, through the body, it's so powerful. It can kill. That's our mind, like electricity. You do not know how to harness it and use it correctly, it can kill you. It's just like the mind. It's the same. Unseen forces are so powerful. So powerful. And this is what I come to understand about why the teaching of the mind is so important. And that's why Buddhas are born, to teach us how to use our mind to get out of samsara. That's why Buddhas are born. The Buddhas are not born just to have a party with us. No. He knows we are very hard to teach. The Buddhas know we are very hard to teach, but he tries for 45 years, day in, day out. He's teaching to different kinds of mindset people. Everything is made from the mind. So look at our minds. Okay, so this is just part of the list. I don't have time. It's already 10:41. I have to stop at 10:45, right? Okay, so maybe I can stop here. The emphasis is please look at our state of mind every day. Then we can call ourselves a cultivator. Because we have believed in a lot of wrong things for too many births already, too many lifetimes. It's high time we really sit back and really see and really understand what the Buddha wants us to realize about the mind. Okay? All right, so this is a reminder. Every day I'm reminding myself now, look at my mind, what's arising, okay? Yeah, and trying to get out of it. Cultivation is really getting our habitual tendencies, the unwholesome tendencies, to really be corrected towards something that is really good and wholesome. That's called cultivation. It's not just to be holy, bow 1,000 times every day and do all those little kind of external things to impress people that I'm a very good Buddhist. Look at me, I'm practicing, you are not practicing. We don't do that. Practicing Buddhism is not to show off to people. I'm great, you are not great. No. Just remember what we chanted just now, Metta Sutta. I'm so happy that somebody requested me to chant in English because most of us will probably know the meaning better in English. Look at the qualities of the Metta Sutta. I was hoping to go through the 38 blessings of the Mangala Sutta. Just Mangala Sutta and Metta Sutta, we can be enlightened if we know how to let go of all our defilements. We will be awakened if we just follow those two suttas. Yeah. So yeah, I think I have to stop here. So question time. Any questions? Yeah.
Thank you, Ayya, for a very thoughtful presentation. Maybe we'll take a quick question from the floor. There is one over here. Hang on.
When you were talking about having a pain in your knee or wherever when you're sat for a long time, was that strategy of yours to put your attention on the pain or not to do that?
Can you put the mic nearer to your mouth, please? Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, better, yeah.
Yeah.
I heard something about the pain. Yeah, what about the pain?
Yeah, sitting a long time meditating and your knee hurts.
Yeah.
And you were saying a strategy was it to put your attention on the pain or to not do that?
To really look at the pain.
All right, okay, so you're
look
literally...
at the pain. You can, like for me, I would just look at the pain, right? My eyes are closed, but I'm still looking at the pain because you can feel where the pain is. Yeah, and then what I do is that when I look at the pain, I would just tell myself, now where's the pain? Is on the knee area. Okay, what kind of pain is it? Is it a throbbing pain? Is it a what I call just a slight muscle pain or whatever? You just try to look at it and just look at it. Not to say, oh, my knee is hurting me, oh, I must change position. Just try, because it's not easy. I know I can't do it all the time, especially when it's so very painful, like stabbing pain, right? When it's very stabbing pain, I can't do it. I haven't reached that level yet. Yeah, but I still try. Before I change my position. Yeah, sometimes it does work. You just keep on looking at it and you distance yourself. You know, this is something like what we, even as lay meditators, right? Many of us who are meditating as a layperson, we have out-of-body experiences. You don't need to be in an accident or on the operating table to experience near-death experiences. You don't have to. You meditate, you can do that. It's when your mind actually separates from the body and you're looking at your own body.
Thanks. Yeah, I've heard that one before, and thought of it, but couldn't remember whether you're supposed to ignore it or look at it. So that was useful.
So I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ayya. There was some appreciation from people online as well.
Oh, thank you so much.
And someone else also asked a similar question, so we won't repeat. There is one question here about anger. Maybe we could wrap up with that. Why does anger take so long to overcome? I'm rephrasing this a bit, but it's the person who felt anger for them may take years to overcome, even though the Buddha said that anger is highly blameworthy and doesn't last much, but they find that it could take years to overcome.
Yeah.
Is this true? Do you have advice?
Yeah, it is true. Why is it that some persons can hate another person until, even if I die, I'll never forgive you? Correct? That's because they refuse to let go. They refuse to forgive. So who is suffering? Not the person whom you are angry at or with. It's yourself. We are the one who is suffering. Again, I like to use this example. Somebody gave me this quote. When we are angry, it's just like we are drinking poison and hoping the other person will die. It won't work that way. Yeah. So that's mainly because we have not let go. You may have been hurt by that someone very deeply. There are many people who I remember recollecting one incident where someone wanted to become a nun, but because of a very traumatic experience she had when she was a layperson, she thought she actually went to a psychiatrist and all those things with medication and all that. She thought she recovered, but she didn't. When she was with me, we didn't even meditate every day. We were not even in the forest monastery. We were in the Sangamitarama. There's a suburban property. One day she was really shaking and crying and saying that, Ayya Upekkha, I thought I've got over that experience, but I haven't. That's because we suppress our feelings. We couldn't let it go. But a lot of times our mind is so deceptive. We tell ourselves, oh, okay, things are fine now, I'm okay now. No, it's not okay. Even for monastics like us, Ajahn Brahm says just go into 2 weeks meditation Vasa retreat. Unless you're really a practitioner who knows how to handle your mind. I have an experience with a sister nun, okay? Anyone who is more than 10 Vasa, you can have a 3 months meditation experience, okay? 3 months meditation experience. So what happened? One of us, junior nuns, we will have to take care of everything for her. Breakfast, lunch, even because Mahayana dinner, right? And then wash their clothes, clean whatever they want us to clean, and then cook for them, bring medicine for them, anything that they want we do for them. They only need to meditate and look at the mind. But there is this instance where this sister nun of mine just couldn't handle it. She was crying and wailing, really wailing. Can hear the pain in the wail because of something that she experienced many, many years ago as a layperson. So what happens? We have to call our teacher. Oh, Sifu, please come. I think our sister nun is suffering from something very terrible. She's really crying and wailing. That's how deceptive our mind is. So for the person who feels that the anger is really in the heart for very long, it's because we haven't forgiven, we haven't really let go. I know it's not easy to let go, right? Unless we have seen that everything is really non-self, there's really nobody there. It's the action of the person that we should be dealing with and not that person. It's the action. But most of us take the action to be the person, just like we take our thoughts and feelings to be ourself, a self. That's why we are all suffering all the time. Not only are we suffering, we cause suffering to others too because of our notion of the self so strong. Yeah. So I really hope that you are able to learn how to let go. This is not just the Buddha's teaching. Psychologists will tell you the same thing. Counselors will tell you the same thing. If you have gone through something very traumatic or very deeply hurt by the person, right, whether the person is still there or not, if you are able to forgive, okay, please do so. Okay, I think I can relate one life example of what forgiveness is. I have a relative, okay, when he was a little boy, he was actually given hydraulic, what do you use to clean bathrooms? The acid into his mouth as a little baby because the maid was quarreling with another maid. And the baby was crying and screaming in pain. The acid was fed through his throat. Right up to now, he cannot use his throat. He cannot talk properly. So with all the medical expertise in Singapore, he grew up to be a young, mature boy. But I do not know how his mindset is because he is so different from everybody else. He cannot live a normal life. But in one of the interviews, I think the family members, his parents, actually, he was interviewed, and I think it was in the newspaper in Singapore. He actually said that we forgive the maid. They said that they forgive the maid because what can they do? They say, what can we do? It's already happened. Even if we hold the anger, what do we want to do? Want to pour acid back into the maid's throat? You can't do that. So they really forgive, and then they just took care of the son. He's now a young man, but I'm quite sure that he too may have times when he'll be asking questions, right? But forgiveness was there. So that anger for that maid was no more there. The anger for that maid was no more there. That's why they can move forward. As a family, they move forward. Yeah. So please, if you are able to understand that at the time of whatever happened to you, I have no idea what actually happened to you, but if you're able to understand that that time has already is in the past, the person may be there or may not be there, it doesn't matter. Please try to forgive, because if we don't forgive, we are trapped in our own anger. We are the one to suffer, not the other person. We are the one to suffer. If we do not know how to forgive, we are the one to suffer. And with the passing of time, let our heart heal. It's not easy, I know. We are not arahants, where we see things as they really are, like that, okay? We always have this kind of feelings and recollections of how I was deeply hurt, or was very unfairly treated, or was right. A lot of nasty things happen. I mean, sometimes you hear things from our devotees, and what you hear from other people, it is so disgusting, it's so unbelievable. And sometimes I ask, how did the person manage to forgive? I also ask myself, would I be able to forgive? So I know it's very hard to forgive, but we have to forgive, because why did I turn into Buddhism? Because there was just one teaching from this Chinese teacher who actually, in 100 hours of talk, I only remembered one of his teachings. If you are not able to forgive a person, you don't even consider learning Dhamma, because you will always be trapped in your anger. You will never be able to go forward. You will never be able to understand the teachings of Lord Buddha, because we are so trapped in our anger. That one statement turned my mind towards Buddhism. So much so that I prefer to walk the path of the Buddha by becoming a nun, because the teaching is so beautiful. When you really know how to let go, forgive and all that, oh my goodness, you feel so light-hearted. You feel that you're free. And that's why I became a nun. I thought that the Buddha's teaching was the best. I was from a convent school. I used to idolize Mother Teresa. I wanted to do what Mother Teresa was doing. Not that I don't believe that there was a Jesus Christ. I still believe there is a Jesus Christ. I still love singing Christmas carols, if I'm able to sing. I love them because they're so meaningful, right? But the Buddha's teaching is really penetrative into your heart, into your mind, releasing us of all those traps that we set for ourselves. So the other day, Ayya Sankapa was here, and he found a book, Prisons of Life by Bhikkhu Buddhadasa. I'm looking for copies to give to everyone. I'm actually asking a Malaysian devotee, are you able to find me this book? Because it was printed by a Malaysian printer. Everything that we don't like, everything that we are attached to are our prisons of life. I totally agree. Yeah. So please, try to let go. Speak to someone you can trust, because sometimes speaking about it helps you to release your suppressed feelings, and then try to forgive. Let time heal your heart. Do a lot of good things. Even for the person who has hurt you, they probably need a lot of good energy also. If you're able to do that, you'll be healing your heart, and you can go forward, and you're releasing yourself from the poisons of anger. That is what I can say. Thank you so very much.